So imagine you pour just like your entire life savings into a storefront.
Yeah.
You stock the shelves, you carefully curate this amazing customer list, you build a brand.
Right, the whole dream.
Exactly. And then one morning, you're walking by and you realize your landlord has secretly built a second entrance to your store.
Oh, man.
Yeah. And they're just selling your products through that door, taking all the transactions and like keeping all the customer data for themselves.
Wow.
And you never asked for it. You never signed a single piece of paper approving it. But that is exactly what thousands of e-commerce merchants realized was happening to them back in August 2026.
I mean, it is just a phenomenal analogy. And frankly, it's a deeply unsettling reality for anyone who is trying to run a business online today.
Seriously.
Because, we operate under this comforting assumption that we are the architects of our own digital environments.
Yeah.
Like, we just assume that if a feature exists on our platform, it's there because we toggled the switch to turn it on.
Right. You assume you opted in.
Exactly. So discovering that you're merely a passive participant in a platform's default setting, that just completely shatters the illusion of control.
Which brings us perfectly to the core mission of today's deep dive. So for you listening, whether you run a massive e-commerce empire or you're just, fascinated by how big tech operates behind the scenes, we are looking at this really exhaustive 28-minute breakdown from August 2026 about Shopify's Shop app channel.
It's a dense one, for sure.
It really is. So our goal today is to basically cut through all that noise and figure out exactly what this channel is, the sort of underlying mechanics of how it's secretly activated itself, and most importantly, how you can actually take back the wheel.
And to do that, we actually have to start by untangling this massive naming collision.
Right.
Because the source material spends a good amount of time right up front on this.
Oh my gosh, yes, it's so confusing.
It is. Because Shopify has 3 completely distinct products that all share the exact same word shop.
Yeah.
And people, even seasoned developers, they conflate them constantly.
I'm so glad you brought this up. Because I was reading through these notes and initially I got just completely turned around. So let's establish the baseline right now for everyone listening.
Please do.
Okay, so first, there is Shop Just Shop. That is the consumer-facing mobile app and marketplace. Like, it's the actual destination on your phone where shoppers scroll through feeds and buy things.
Right.
Second, there is Shop Pay. And that's just the purple accelerated checkout button you see when you're buying something on an independent website.
Yep, the quick checkout.
Exactly. And then third, there is Shop Cash, which is simply the rewards currency that shoppers earn.
Perfect breakdown. And the critical thing to understand here is that these systems are totally siloed. Like, disabling Shop Pay on your website does not magically remove your store from the Shop app marketplace.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's a huge distinction.
It really is. So today we are laser focused solely on the Shop app itself and its corresponding administrative sales channel. And really, this whole thing is just a masterclass in platform leverage. You listening are going to learn how to spot the exact moment a software provider stops being just your tool and starts making choices on your behalf.
So, okay, if you are a merchant and you suddenly realize this weird second entrance has been built on your property, the obvious first question is just, how did I even get here?
Right, how did this happen?
Because historically, if you want to sell your products on a massive marketplace like Amazon or Etsy or whatever, you have to initiate that process.
You have to apply.
Exactly. You go to a landing page, you fill out this lengthy application, you submit all your tax documents, and then you just sit and wait for a human or some algorithm to approve you.
Right. That's the traditional opt-in model we all know.
Yeah.
But what Shopify did with the Shop channel is completely invert that paradigm. They utilize a mechanism that we can essentially call automatic eligibility.
Automatic eligibility.
Yeah. If you go looking for an application button to join the Shop channel, you will not find one.
It just doesn't exist?
It literally doesn't exist. Instead, Shopify just deploys these automated bots that constantly scrape the back end of every single store on their platform.
Wait, so they're just constantly scanning everyone's back end? What exactly are those bots looking for?
Well, they are scanning for a very specific checklist of 8 requirements. And if your store meets all 8 of those requirements simultaneously, boom. The system just automatically installs the Shop channel right into your admin interface, pulls your entire catalog, and publishes your products to their consumer app.
Just like that. Okay, so let's unpack this checklist. Like, what are the actual triggers that cause this automated deployment?
So some of them are just basic account statuses, like you have to be on an active starter plan or higher.
Okay, pretty standard.
Right. And you must have Shopify payments fully activated, which means if you use a third-party gateway like Authorize.net for your credit card processing, you're completely invisible to this system.
Oh, interesting. So they only want you if you're using their payment rails.
Exactly. But the technical requirements are where it gets really interesting. You must have an active online store that is completely open to the public. That means no password protection. And crucially, you cannot have any age verification apps running.
Wait, hold on. Why the ban on age verification? I mean, if I sell something like lighters, shouldn't a platform actually want me to be verifying age?
You would think so, right?
And
But it actually comes down to the mechanics of how Shopify ingests your data.
oh, the bots.
Yeah, remember those automated scraping bots we just talked about? I mean, they are incredibly fast, but they aren't smart enough to bypass third-party code.
Oh, so they just hit a wall.
Exactly. If a bot hits your website and gets a pop-up asking, are you 21 or older? The bot just gets stuck. It cannot click yes to enter the site, which means it cannot read your product data.
That makes perfect sense technically. It's not a moral judgment on the age restriction itself. It's just about the bot physically getting blocked at the front door.
Exactly. So to ensure a frictionless ingestion process, Shopify simply disqualifies any store running those gates.
Wow. Okay, but there's another requirement in the source material that just feels incredibly precarious to me. It says, to stay eligible, a merchant has to maintain a chargeback rate below 1% over a rolling 6-month window.
Yes. The keyword there is rolling.
Right. So think about what that actually means in practice. You don't just pass some initial background check and then get like tenure on the app.
Not at all.
If you have just one bad month of fraudulent orders, maybe like a coordinated bot attack on your checkout, and your chargeback rate ticks up to 1.1%, does the second entrance to your store just vanish overnight?
That is precisely the mechanism. The eligibility is continually assessed. The moment you drop below that threshold, you are automatically delisted. And you stay gone until that 6-month rolling average drops back down below 1%.
That is wild. You could just drift in and out of this marketplace without even realizing it.
You really could.
Yeah.
And it's not just your store's financial metrics that are constantly being judged either. It's the actual nature of the products you sell.
Yeah.
Because Shopify enforces a prohibited list for the app.
Right. The source outlines 11 banned categories, I think.
Correct. And it covers the usual suspects you'd expect for a sanitized marketplace, right? Alcohol, tobacco, cannabis, medical devices, weapons, adult content, hazardous materials.
The standard stuff?
Yeah. But the enforcement of this list is what merchants really need to pay attention to. Because the legal documentation introduces these categories with the phrase include, but aren't limited to.
Wait, so let's say I sell like really high-end crystal wine glasses or maybe a beautifully forged set of kitchen knives. If a bot is scanning my catalog, do I get booted just because my keywords trigger the alcohol or weapons filters?
You absolutely might. And, that's the real danger of algorithmic enforcement. As the source text explicitly warns, you have to treat this prohibitive list as a direction, not a hard boundary.
A direction, not a boundary.
Right. If your products exist anywhere near the gray area of those categories, Shopify reserves ultimate discretion. They can remove a product or even your entire store at any time for literally any reason with zero recourse.
Man, so they're constantly scanning your metrics, they're judging your catalog, and they're deciding whether or not your store gets to stay on their marketplace.
Every single day.
Which leads to the most important question for you listening. If you have absolutely no say in whether you qualify for this channel, what actual control do you have once you are drafted into it?
Well, you don't control the eligibility, but you absolutely do control the state of the channel. Because once it appears in your dashboard, you essentially have 3 operational states to choose from.
Okay, what are they?
So, state number 1 is the default selling directly in the Shop app. A buyer searches, they find your product, and they check out natively right inside Shopify's app ecosystem.
Okay, standard marketplace behavior.
Right. State number 2 is called link to your online store. In this state, buyers can still discover your products in the app, but when they actually click buy, they are kicked out of the app and redirected to your standalone website to finish the transaction.
Okay, I have to push back on that second option for a second. If I am an e-commerce manager, why would I ever choose that?
It seems counterintuitive, right?
It really does. Because if a buyer has to leave a native app, wait for my mobile website to load, and navigate some new checkout flow, aren't they just going to abandon their cart? Like, is keeping the data really worth losing that impulse buy?
Well, you are identifying the exact friction point.
Mm-hmm.
It is a massive trade-off between immediate conversion and long-term data ownership.
Mm-hmm.
And we are going to dive deeply into the legal reality of that data ownership in just a moment,
Yeah.
because the consequences are honestly massive.
Okay, I can't wait for that.
But before we get there, we really have to talk about the third state, which is simply uninstalling the channel entirely.
Hold on, I want to make sure I understand the actual mechanics here. Like, I am picturing the dashboard in my head right now. If I decide I just hate this whole ecosystem, I go to my sales channels, I click the Shop app, and I hit the big red uninstall button.
Right.
The app is gone from my sidebar. Problem solved, right? I'm out.
See, this is the most dangerous misunderstanding highlighted in the entire source text. Hitting uninstall deletes the channel from your admin menu. It removes your ability to see the settings and the reporting data,
Okay.
but it does not delete your products from the Shop app.
Wait, what? How is that technically even possible? If I delete the integration, how can my products still be live on their app?
Because you didn't actually delete the integration, you only deleted your view of it.
Oh my God.
Yeah. The Shop app is fed by the underlying Shopify catalog, which is just a foundational data layer of your store. So if your store still meets those 8 eligibility requirements, Shopify just continues to scrape that foundational data layer and publish it to the app, regardless of whether you have the channel interface installed in your dashboard.
So it's essentially like unsubscribing from your own store's newsletter.
Exactly.
Like the store is still open, people are still walking in and buying things. You've just decided to stop receiving the daily email updates about it. You've actively blinded yourself.
That is a perfect way to conceptualize it. You've just removed your own visibility. The machine keeps running without you.
That is terrifying.
Yeah.
So how do you actually kill a listing? If uninstalling the channel doesn't pull the products down, what does?
You have to address it at the product level. You must go into your inventory, select the specific products, and manually use the hide toggle for the shop sales channel.
So it's a deliberate item-by-item action.
Yes, you have to explicitly tell the system, hide this item from this specific channel.
Wow. I mean, that is just a crucial lesson in digital literacy for you as a listener. Deleting a user interface does not always delete the underlying data flow.
Never assume that it does.
Okay, so let's pivot a bit. Let's say a merchant decides, you know what, I'm going to embrace the reality of this channel. They leave their products up, they don't hide them. How do they actually get anyone to see them in a sea of millions of other stores?
Discovery. Well, this requires us to dismantle a significant amount of e-commerce folk wisdom. Because when merchants are desperate for traffic, they start inventing narratives about what the algorithm supposedly favors.
Oh, for sure. Rumors spread fast.
They do. So you'll hear people swear that offering incredibly fast shipping speeds or having huge social media engagement rates organically boosts their ranking in the Shop app.
Right, because, I mean, that's how Amazon or Instagram algorithms work, so people just assume it applies here.
Exactly. They are applying external logic to this specific system. But if you actually analyze Shopify's documentation, those factors don't exist.
Really?
They are completely undocumented as relevant signals.
Okay, but what about customer reviews? Surely having, like, hundreds of 5-star reviews pushes you to the top of the search results. Every single marketplace on Earth runs on a reputation economy.
They do matter, but not in the way merchants think. The source material explains that positive reviews are documented as a gate, not a relevant signal.
Wait, so if they are a gate, it's basically like a bouncer at an exclusive club.
That is exactly the dynamic. Having positive reviews, a clean history of orders, a custom domain, all of that gets you past the bouncer, gets you through the door, so your products are legally allowed to be on the dance floor.
Okay, I like this analogy.
But once you are inside the club, those reviews are not the DJ deciding how loud your song gets played.
Oh, wow. Okay, so if positive reviews only get you through the door, what actually dictates your ranking once you're inside?
The merchant only controls 4 direct fields for relevance. That's it. Titles, descriptions, images, and pricing. That is your entire toolkit for discovery.
4 fields, so the actual words in your product title become your absolute lifeline to getting found.
Absolutely.
But you can't just write a clever title and expect it to work everywhere, right? Because the source mentioned a huge difference in how search actually functions depending on where the user lives.
Oh, the geographic distinction is massive.
Mm-hmm.
So Shopify has rolled out conversational search, which is obviously powered by AI, but it is strictly limited to users in the United States and Canada.
Okay, so how does that conversational search work?
Well, a shopper in Chicago can type something like, I need a lightweight, waterproof jacket for a hiking trip. And the AI will actually parse your long, beautifully written product descriptions to find a conceptual match.
Okay, that's amazing. But what if my primary customer base is in Europe or Australia?
Then conversational search does not exist for them. International users are still completely relying on traditional exact keyword search.
Just standard exact match.
Right. If they want a blue rain jacket, they had to type blue rain jacket.
Yes.
So if your product title is some clever abstract branding like the Monsoon Defender, the international search engine won't know what that is.
It just completely skips you.
You will be invisible.
Man, so you have to know your algorithm, but you also really have to know your audience's geography to optimize those 4 fields correctly.
You really do.
Now, the source also touched on content publishing within the app, specifically a field called posts. How does that impact discovery?
So historically, posts, which actually used to be called updates, were strictly a retention tool, meaning if a merchant posted a photo of a new product drop, it only appeared in the feeds of users who already explicitly followed that brand in the app.
So if you had 0 followers, posting was essentially just shouting into an empty room.
Exactly. Completely pointless for discovery.
But the source notes that Shopify fundamentally changed that architecture recently.
They did. Posts are now injected directly into the main algorithmic feed. They are ranked by relevancy and surfaced to shoppers who have never even heard of your brand.
Which completely changes the utility of the feature. It transforms it from just a retention tool into a top-of-funnel acquisition tool. You can actually use content to capture brand new eyeballs.
Exactly. It means that for a brand new store with 0 audience, publishing really rich content on the Shop app is no longer a waste of time. It's an acquisition strategy.
Okay, so let's walk through the ideal scenario. A merchant optimizes their titles for the right geography, they pass the bouncer with good reviews, they post engaging content, and it works.
Beautiful.
A customer clicks and buys the product natively in the app. Huge success. But this brings us to the most critical so what moment of this entire analysis. Who actually owns that customer?
The data tug of war. And if you are listening to this right now and you run a business, this is the legal reality you absolutely need to understand. Because in e-commerce, whoever owns the data relationship owns the future revenue.
Yes. We need to talk about the data processing addendum, or the DPA, because this is where the landlord building the second door analogy really hits home for me.
It really does.
Let's break this down. What exactly does a standard DPA do?
Think of a standard DPA as a digital non-disclosure agreement between a merchant and a software provider. It legally dictates that the platform, in this case Shopify, is merely a processor of information.
Right.
So someone buys a shirt on your website, the DPA ensures that shopper is legally your customer. Shopify is just providing the digital cash register. They don't own the relationship.
Right. I mean, that is the foundational premise of independent e-commerce. You own your audience.
But the source material highlights a massive carve-out in Shopify's DPA. It explicitly excludes personal data that Shopify receives through the Shop app and through Shop Pay.
Wait. Let me make sure I'm grasping the gravity of this. If a customer buys my product on my standalone website, they are my customer.
Correct.
But if that exact same person buys that exact same product, but they do it inside the native Shop app, they are legally Shopify's customer who just happened to buy my thing.
Yes. The DPA explicitly states it does not apply to data received as a result of the customer's direct relationship with Shopify. When a transaction happens in the app, the shopper has a legal relationship with the platform. They merely have a transaction with you.
I mean, that is devastating for a merchant's marketing strategy. If I don't legally own the data relationship, I lose my entire lifetime value engine.
You lose so much leverage.
I can't build retargeting audiences on Facebook using that data. I can't automatically drop them into an email sequence to send them a 20% off coupon for next month.
You lose the ability to reliably re-engage them on your own terms. And this right here is exactly why we debated that link to your online store setting earlier.
Okay, the puzzle pieces are coming together.
Yeah.
So adding that friction, forcing them out of the app and onto your website to check out isn't just a poor user experience. It's deliberate legal strategy.
Exactly. It is the ultimate workaround. You get the top-of-funnel exposure of having your catalog searchable in Shopify's massive marketplace. But by forcing the actual transaction to happen on your domain, the data relationship falls back under the standard DPA.
And they remain your customer.
Exactly.
Wow, that completely changes the math on conversion rates. You might lose some impulse buys, but you keep the lifetime value.
It's a calculation every merchant has to make.
But this legal boundary isn't just about marketing data, right? It also fundamentally shifts the financial liabilities, specifically around taxes. And the source mentioned a major shift happening in 2025.
Yes, and this is vital for anyone managing the books. Because the Shop app functions as a marketplace, it falls under marketplace facilitator laws. So as of January 1st, 2025, the Shop sales channel automatically calculates, collects, and remits sales tax for all orders shipping within the United States.
So Shopify just handles the liability entirely.
Yes, for those native app orders.
I mean, that sounds like a massive relief for merchants. Shopify just does the taxes for you. But there's a catch here, isn't there? The source called it the analytics trap.
The trap is conflating the platforms.
Yeah.
Remember, at the very beginning of this deep dive, when we established the Shop Pay on your website is not the same thing as the Shop app marketplace.
Yes, the accelerated checkout button versus the actual destination app.
Well, merchants constantly look at their analytics dashboard and see a massive spike in Shop Pay transactions. And they assume, incorrectly, that those sales came from the Shop app marketplace.
Oh, no.
Which means they assume Shopify is handling the taxes for all of them. But if a customer uses the Shop Pay button on your own website, you are still legally responsible for configuring and remitting those taxes.
Wow.
The 2025 auto remittance only applies to transactions that originated strictly inside the native channel.
So if you aren't looking closely at the specific shop channel orders report to differentiate where the traffic actually came from, you are going to massively miscalculate your channel ROI. And even more dangerously, you are going to end up with a huge tax liability at the end of the year because you just assumed Shopify was paying it.
It is exactly how accounting nightmares are born. You have to read the right reports.
So what does this all mean? Let's bring this all together for you listening. The overarching theme of this August 2026 breakdown is that the Shop app channel is a structural reality you inherit. It is not something you actively choose. Shopify's bots will build that pop-up shop on your lawn if you meet the requirements.
Yeah, absolutely will.
But while you cannot dictate your eligibility, you absolutely must dictate your participation deliberately.
Intent over default settings. That's the takeaway. You don't have to be a victim of the architecture. You can actually leverage it.
Right.
You can lean in with tools like Shop Campaigns, which, the source notes only charges merchants on actual conversions, not just clicks. You can meticulously optimize your 4 search fields. Or, if data sovereignty is your ultimate priority, you can intentionally route that traffic back to your own checkout.
Or you can just go into your inventory and manually hide every single product if you want out, but the choice has to be yours.
Exactly.
Now, before we sign off, there was one tiny detail buried in the source material that completely blew my mind. And I want to leave you, our listener, with this final provocative thought.
Oh, I think I know where you're going. You're referring to the agentic shopping experiences.
Yes. The text just casually mentions that products sitting in the shop catalog are automatically discoverable by, quote, agentic shopping experiences, specifically naming things like Shopper app for ChatGPT.
Right.
And this scraping happens regardless of whether you are actively managing the channel or not.
If your data is in the foundational catalog, AI agents have access to it, period.
So I just want you to ponder this for a second. We are moving toward a reality where consumers just open ChatGPT and say, hey, find me the best lightweight waterproof tent under $200 and buy it with my default card.
And it just does it.
Right. Those AI agents don't look at your beautiful website designs. They don't care about your lifestyle photography or your brand colors. They just scrape these massive, invisible back-end catalogs.
They only care about the raw data fields. Specs, pricing, availability.
Exactly. For you listening, a headless database is basically just a back-end spreadsheet of product specs and prices, completely disconnected from a visual storefront. So, as AI agents increasingly do our shopping for us, is the traditional, carefully branded e-commerce website eventually going to become obsolete?
That is the million-dollar question.
Are we moving toward a future where businesses aren't building visual stores anymore? They are just managing headless databases that feed raw information directly to an AI.
It forces us to ask what the future of branding actually is. Because if a human never actually navigates to your website, the entire discipline of digital commerce shifts. It moves from visual, emotional persuasion into pure mechanical data optimization.
It's a staggering thought, and considering the automated pop-up shop is already operating on your digital lawn whether you asked for it or not, that future might already be here.
It just might be.
Well, thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Go check your default settings, Verify your tax reports, and we'll catch you next time.